Hey, welcome to this podcast where the truth is released to inspire you to find your voice, bring out the gold within you, and help you reach your full potential to roar out loud in the world around you. I'm your host, Mary Street. This podcast is where we believe in turning up the volume on life's practical tips, impart insightful wisdom, as well as share life stories of triumph, resilience, and passion. Get ready to amplify your life and ignite your courage. This is Roar Out Loud. Hey guys, welcome back to this podcast. I am so excited that you're tuning in with us today. I've got an incredible person with me here today, and it's my husband, Peter. Woohoo!
Hey
You're
guys,
back with us in the studio.
Excited to be back here today. It's my second time doing a podcast with my amazing wife, Mary. And yeah, we're excited for what we want to share with you guys today.
Yeah, and you know what? You need to do more podcasts with me.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, because there's so many people out there, I believe, that want to hear from your voice too. So I think
Sounds like a
that
plan.
there's more coming. What do you think?
I say watch this space.
Yeah, watch this space. Woohoo!
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Okay, today we're going to be starting a series called Love Talks. And I'm excited about that because there's so many of you couples, young couples, maybe you're just dating, maybe you're just getting married, maybe you're engaged, about to get married, maybe you've been married and you're dealing with relationship conflicts and things that maybe you're finding hard. I mean, it happens in relationship, it happens in marriage, and we're going to tackle some of that today. We're going to just get raw and real about our own relationship and how we've grown in learning how to communicate and how we've grown in learning how to really serve one another when it comes to relationship. So today, one of the biggest things that we're going to go after is communication, learning how to communicate and dealing with conflict. So we're going to get into that. We're going to give a little bit of our own advice and stories and all those things. So get ready for the ride.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. So, like I said, we've been married almost 18 years.
Coming up in July.
Yeah, coming up in July. And in our 18 years, there's been so many mountaintops, so many valleys that we've walked through in learning how to even communicate. And, I would say we still grow in that every year. Like there's new levels of communication, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think back to when we were dating,
Yeah.
even then how we communicated to where we are now.
Yeah, how would you explain that?
Well, when we were dating, I didn't know I was an external processor. So I had all this stuff I'd want to say in the moments where we had conflict. And it wasn't that I didn't want to talk, but I had to wait for the right opportunity to say it, kind of thing. And so I would stay silent and it would drive you crazy. Yeah. Because you thought I didn't want to talk about it, but I had so much that I wanted to say. But it's like once I started learning how to get it out and actually just start talking, I think that really helped.
Yeah, and it was also me learning to, in a sense, keep my love on and being like, okay, learning how you operate instead of getting like so mad about it. Communication and conflict resolution, they are like so important in dating and in marriage. Let's talk about even like you just hit on it, dating, having communication in dating. What would you say to married couple, or not married, but dating couples right now? Like people that are at that space and they're trying to figure each other out. Obviously, they were attracted to each other. They're in a dating relationship, and even, trying to figure out like, okay, what is dating? What is not? We've heard so many things across the board. It was so different when we were younger. However, the concept is still there. Like, what does communication, what would you say it looks like in dating versus marriage?
I mean, like we brushed on earlier, it's important to learn how you communicate as an individual and how your other person communicates. And then in that, learning each other's communication style and way they work, learning that just because that's how you are used to communicating doesn't mean that you're stuck in a box and you can't get out of it.
Yeah.
Like learning to, I guess, adapt to work with the other person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to bring up James 1:19. It says, "Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and become angry." So be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to becoming angry. And sometimes in dating, also in marriage, just talk about relationship in general, when you're in dating or in marriage, sometimes when maybe someone says something or someone does something to even offend you, or in the moment you're like, no, you're not hearing me. Like, it's so important to come to that place of being slow to speak, to really listen to the other person. And that's something I would say we had to grow in our own relationship, when it came to really hearing each other. And it's not something we stepped into right away, I wouldn't say. I mean, but we had our season where we actually were friends,
Yeah.
good friends, before we actually started dating. So we had that communication part. But when you step into dating, that communication part goes into a deeper level, I would say.
And that's when you're going to face conflicts, because when you're just friends and conflict arise, there's no conflict really that can arise, and if there is, you just walk away.
Yeah.
And you meet up again the next day. But when you're in a relationship, you can't walk away from conflict. You have to face it in some capacity, and at some point you can't avoid it. So it's learning how to function in those moments, and like it says in James, being slow to speak, slow to become angry. It's slow to listen as well, because the temptation in a moment of being challenged or confronted with something, you want to defend yourself. That's usually your normal go-to. And you're like, but it's important to stop, listen, take a deep breath, and bite those words and wait till the person has finished, the other person's finished saying everything they want to say, and then being, okay, I heard you. This is my side of the story. Now let me share. You've shared your heart. Let me share my heart with you on why I did that, or why I responded in that way.
Yeah. And when you jump in, I know at different times I've done that. I'm like, well, you said, or duh, duh,
Yeah.
when you're quick to jump in and you're quick to just throw things out. I would say 99 out of 100, you're actually operating in that spirit of pride.
Yeah.
And pride is what goes, oh no, just walk away. Pride says, no, I'm not going to deal with this right now. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, that anger rises up because of pride and different things, and so I would actually say people can walk away, because people are powerful to make choices. However, walking away isn't the solution. Growing in communication is the solution. Learning how to deal with that conflict.
Yeah, like if you're in a relationship, then it's like a garden. You have to invest time in it. You have to pull out the weeds.
That's good.
You have to till it in order for beautiful plants and flowers to grow. So
Yeah.
you can walk away from your garden and it'll fill up with weeds.
Yeah.
Or the rabbits will eat the carrots. But you have to put the time in to tending it, which is like, okay, even though I want to defend myself, which is the pride, or it's like, even though I feel like I need to be heard now, my case has to be heard now to defend myself. It's like, no, I can wait. I have time in this conversation to be heard. And I think for me, one of the fundamental things is you always want to hear somebody's heart, especially if you want your heart to be heard. Then you need to take the time to listen to someone else's heart, to hear what they're saying and what they're feeling.
Yeah, and even in, say, relationship, like with our own children. I know we're talking about dating, we're talking about marriage, being in a relationship like that, but relationship in general, like one of the things that we tell our kids is, hey, if you want me to respect your heart, then I need you to respect mine.
Yeah.
And I think that carries into that space of dating and marriage, because it's a mutual respect. It's learning to listen to one another in that place of loving and serving the other person in that, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it comes down to, this is what we learned early on, even when we were engaged.
Yeah.
That it comes down to two things, whether it's dating or whether it's marriage. But are you going to be a servant, or are you going to be selfish?
A servant lover,
A
or
servant
a selfish lover.
Or a selfish lover.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down.
And explain Because people out there might hear that term and they go, well, what does it mean to be a servant lover? Like, I'm not gonna be anyone's servant. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm out. But no, that's not really like what we're talking about, right? So
Right.
explain a servant lover.
So I think it comes down to those two choices. So
Yeah.
whenever conflict or whatever comes up, you can choose. Do I want to be selfish in this moment, or do I want to serve them? So it's really like, what is the opposite of being selfish in the moment? Being selfish would be like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I'm feeling.
I don't
And I'm
care
justified
I don't
in
care
that.
what he thinks. I don't care what he says.
But it's like, can you lay that down?
Right.
Because you love someone more than your own selfish things. It's not that you're giving up on needs
Right.
and wants. You're not giving bits of yourself away. It's like, no, do I value this person enough? Do I love them enough that actually I can put that aside? I can lay that down because I know this is what will make them happy in this moment.
Yeah, or because I know that this is what's going to create space for us to really hear each other's hearts
Yeah.
in this moment. Say if when that conflict arises or something, like it's going to create space to hear each other's hearts if I choose to take a step back, choose to be
Yeah.
the powerful person that I know I am or that I'm called to be, and I'm going to listen. I'm going to take time
Right.
and I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to hear what you have to say. There's been so many times in our relationship where I've had to bite my tongue. You too. You've had to bite your tongue and hold back. I mean, and in the moment, sometimes inside you could be seething. You could be like, ah,
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated with her,
Right.
or I'm so frustrated with him. But yet you take time and you say, okay, well, explain that to me.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? You know what I mean?
And that's the, like, in the moment choosing between being a selfish lover or a servant lover.
And a
Like,
selfish lover would look like what?
yeah, a selfish lover would be,
I don't care.
I need to be heard right now because what I have to say is really important and I'm totally justified in
Yeah.
why I did that.
Yeah.
And part of that is right, you might well be, but that's selfish because it's like, you have to be heard first,
Right.
which is pride at the end of the day. But can you be a servant? Mm-hmm. Can you be like, actually, I'm going to give them the space and hear what they have to say first and honor their heart before I share mine.
Yeah. And all this comes down to communication styles, the struggles within those communication styles, and the challenges that couples face. And so let's talk about, we already hit on some of it, but let's talk about, some of the different communication things that happen that actually create that deeper realm of conflict or frustration and conflict and all those things. I mentioned one of the things is interrupting each other. And I know
Which
we've
I'm pretty good at. I'm
we've
still working on.
we've both had that frustration with each other.
And in that interrupting thing, it's not always actually what this is an area that I'm weak in and
Yeah.
still growing in. It's not interrupting
too.
so that you can be heard. It's actually one of my weaknesses is I'll anticipate what she's wanting to say, what Mary's wanting
Yeah.
to say, and therefore I've already figured it out in my head, and I'm like, oh, then I'll give an answer. I'll be like, that's actually not the case.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is Mary's like, no, hold on, let me finish. And when I hear what she's saying, she was actually going to say something different. But when you make that assumption of what someone's going to say
Yes.
and don't give them the chance to just listen, then
Yeah.
that's also, it's not helpful in communication. That's why giving the space, honoring someone's heart, honoring what someone else has to say, you'll still get the chance to say yours. But don't make the assumption that you know what they're going to say.
Yeah, let's talk about assuming things, Oftentimes that happens because I know many women and guys, we all do it. We build the cases in our head. We build the cases in our head before we actually go to the other person and try to deal with the conflict. Or we're in the middle of all of a sudden dealing with the conflict. And sometimes your brain is on speed dial building the case in your head as the other person is speaking. So you're not actually listening to what they're saying. Like that, how do people get past that? What would you say? Because we've dealt with that in our own marriage. At times.
I think an important key is learning that sometimes it's okay to say, hey, can we pause this? We're both heated right now. I'm going to chew on it and think about it so that I
Yeah.
can come back. I'm not avoiding it, but I want to be able to talk to you when I'm calm and I've had some time to think about it.
Yeah.
Because usually when you're confronted with something, often there is a part that you can take ownership for. So if you don't, sometimes you just need a little bit of time to be like, actually, yeah, in doing that, I was wrong. Sure, they did this, but let me own up for what I did wrong. Let me come to the table with that. And
That's so good.
walking in the humility of that,
Mm-hmm.
it comes back down to pride and humility as well. If you can walk in the humility of like, okay, 99% of what happened in that conflict really was you,
Yeah.
but 1% was me, and
I'm going to own it.
I'm going to own it. Please forgive me that when I spoke to you this way was wrong, or I got angry
Or when
and I reacted.
when I withheld that from
Yeah.
you, when I hid this from you, when I did, you know,
Right.
I mean, whatever it is, like own the 1%.
Yeah, and say, hey, this is, and you start with that posture of humility of like, that's what I did, it was wrong. And then that's like, it's not like, okay, now you need to repent, or, you know, give you a chance to confess. It's like, hey, this is my heart, I'm coming in low.
Yeah.
What's your heart on what just happened? And they're like, oh, you know what? Sorry. But being humble and walking in humility like that just unlocks people's hearts and unlocks the opportunity to grow and grow closer together.
Yeah, because it keeps the other person, and I think even you, from completely shutting your emotions down. Because if you feel like the other person's not hearing you and you're getting heated and you're not owning even the 1%, oftentimes what happens is wall.
Yeah.
And in your head, you could be thinking boundary. And I talk about this a lot on our different podcasts. It's like, no, actually, when you have a wall, that's not a real boundary, because you're keeping the other person way out and you're choosing not to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't even look at them with love or respect them in love, or, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is a fine line between a boundary and a wall.
Mm-hmm.
And as somebody who sits in their mind palace a lot, like I do a lot of just internal thinking and reflection.
But you're an outward processor.
Talking with the Lord, but I'm an outward processor. But
Yeah.
in those moments, that's when it's like I open myself up to being convicted on things that I've done wrong, and being able to be like, okay, yeah, this needs, I need to own this.
Yeah. And I would love to go to that place, like, you know, sitting with the Lord. You know, not everyone listening out there probably is a Christian, you know, but I would say the foundation, and actually not just say, I know, you and I both know, the foundation of our marriage is because we've submitted it to Jesus.
Yeah.
We've let him become the foundation. We've grown as sons and daughters in that place, and learning to sit with him in it as individuals and then as a couple.
Yeah, it's like having it's like having a counselor in a sense. It's like it's not just, you're not on your own when
No.
you're dating or
Yeah.
you're in marriage. You're not on your own. You can take that step back and be like, and check in. Hey, what's going on here? Is there anything wrong in me? You know, you've got like someone to talk to.
I mean,
He'll
the
teach
Bible
you.
says that the Holy Spirit is our teacher.
Yeah.
He's our counselor. He's our teacher. And he will teach us. He'll
have a
lead us.
holy
It
counselor.
says he'll lead us and guide us into all truth, which means he's our teacher.
Yeah.
You know, and so when we go to him for, you know, a truth in your relationship, when you go to him for truth in your relationship, the wisdom will come.
Yeah.
If you actually take time to posture yourself before the Lord and sit with him and say, okay, how was I wrong in this? How can I do this better? How can I move forward in this? I want to keep my heart pure before you.
And it depends on, yes to all of that. It depends on your circumstances in the moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can have that entire conversation in your head with the Lord while you're still listening to someone where he's like, actually, you were wrong in that. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, shoot, I need to own that. And sometimes it's like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. But you give yourself a bit of time, you walk away.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, yeah.
And when you have that, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Because sometimes even, I mean, let's get real. In marriage anyway, like God can use your spouse to bring conviction to your heart.
Every day.
I mean, I know he's done that for me, and in the moment sometimes it's like, oh, no, I didn't do anything wrong. You deserve that. No, not me.
Yeah.
I mean, we both have dealt with that. And again,
Yeah.
it goes back to pride. And the Bible says pride goes before a fall. Like,
Yeah.
you will fall if you do not allow yourself to walk in humility and walk in
Right.
love and walk in truth.
Yeah, can you, are you open to correction? Do you welcome correction?
Yeah.
Is it something you actually seek? Like, hey, I don't want to be
Even
walking
correction
around.
from your spouse or from the person you're in a dating relationship, if correction comes in love.
Yes, it has to be done in love.
Yeah.
And usually when it's coming from someone that's close to you like that, it's like, it's right.
Oftentimes,
often,
not always.
but
Yeah.
you don't want to hear it. So it's like, even when you're correcting me sometimes, you're telling me something, I'm like, yes, I know.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, I'm like, yes, it's true. I just don't want to admit it.
And sometimes, I mean, if you're like me, I've done a lot of counseling and life coaching. That's one of the things I do. And so in the moment, you'll be like, I don't want to be coached.
Yeah. Don't coach me. Just listen.
And sometimes I'm like, I'm not coaching you. And other times I'm like, uh-oh, I'm coaching. I need to take that coach hat off. Although it's a part of who I am.
Yeah.
It's not a coach
And
hat.
you're very good at it.
I bring, things to the table and draw things out and bring resolution and make people think about things. And I just do that on a daily basis. It just naturally comes out of me.
Yeah.
So I don't always mean to correct things, but sometimes it happens. And I think that's in relationships. Sometimes, we don't always mean to correct, whether you're the wife or the husband or you're, dating, whatever. You don't always mean to correct, but sometimes it naturally comes out. And then in opposite of that, whoever is the one receiving, they have to choose. It's a choice. Okay, am I going to listen to what the other person is saying, receive it, or am I going to just shove it away?
Yeah, which in dating and marriage, there has to be that level of trust. Okay, you've been friends and then you start dating.
Right.
It's like you come to this point where you grow in trust together, and in growing in trust, then that's growing in permission of how much you trust someone to speak into your life.
Right, yeah.
And as the trust level grows, your ultimate goal is the best for the other person.
Yeah,
and
or it should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
And so you want to keep people accountable to their greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you see things in people that you see they can grow in, you want to communicate that to them.
Right.
And as we grow in communication individually, sometimes that can come across in a, not the nicest way, or it's not received the nicest way.
Mm-hmm.
But your heart behind it is to see somebody grow and keeping them accountable to their greatness.
Right.
So in that, it's like, hey, this is what I see in you, you need to grow in. But then you as the one receiving that, it's like, okay, I can see that, but the way you communicated that to me
was wrong.
I wasn't received very well. You could have said that in this way, and I would have received your correction much better.
Right.
Or the timing of it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just growing in communication on how you give communication, it's growing in how you receive communication as well.
And some people out there would just say, well, that's just how I am. Like, that's my personality, or that's my culture, or that's the way I was brought up, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that oftentimes that is a crutch.
Absolutely.
Because that is not who Jesus is. That's not how he operates in love. That's not how he served.
Right.
And it's learning how do you step into that place of loving well and serving each other in love. With the
Absolutely.
greatest love. God is love. God is love. Not
Yeah.
was. God is love.
Right. And I think ultimately, especially when it comes to the culture or the way you were raised, whatever family background, whatever country you're from, there's differences in that. But it has to come back to what's God's culture for you.
What's the kingdom culture?
What's kingdom culture? Because I'm originally British, so I could say my British culture is stiff upper lip, never talk about anything,
right?
Very reserved. Mm-hmm. But how is that going to be?
And I'm Bay Area.
Yeah.
I'm Bay Area from California,
Yeah.
so I mean, It's some people would say, what? It's all about the West Side.
Yeah.
You know, I
And
mean, two different cultures coming together, and you see things through different lenses and how
Right.
you were raised. I was raised in a very like abusive situation. Many people that have heard this podcast know, you know, they've heard some of my story. Raised in a church background, but a religious background, and such a abusive situation. And so I came at things in a different way when it came to our communication, you know, and also
Yeah.
getting hurt from the way you communicated or lack of communication.
Right. And then same for me. I grew up, my parents didn't communicate. I had a great childhood, great family, but they didn't really know how to communicate necessarily deep, life-changing things. So I had to grow and learn in how to communicate that, or how to communicate in conflict.
And also when it came to not just marriage, but in marriage, growing a family, figuring out how to communicate with one another when it came to children and all that. But that'll be for another episode.
Right. Yeah. But all that to say, it's like, even, you know, I have friends who are from Europe,
Yeah.
and culturally often it's like very direct, business first.
Depending on what part
Depending
of Europe
where
you're
you're
from.
from. I grew up in Africa, so it's always like relationship first. And if you had those two in a relationship, that could be a big conflict. It's like, no, we've got to get to the point.
It has been in our
Yeah,
marriage.
It's like, just get to the point.
Yes.
I'm like, no, we got to do the relationship
And I'm like,
first,
I
and
don't
then we go
need
after
every
that.
little detail. Don't tell me every little detail.
Information giver.
Give me the main points and let's move on.
But then in that, it's like learning, okay, that's how I am,
That's how you operate.
and I'm willing to grow and change in that, and you can keep me accountable to changing in that, but at the same time you have the patience to know, okay, it's work in progress.
And I always thought I was such a patient person until I got married. I mean, literally, like, I mean, people would say I was very patient too, like that knew me, and that I carried such peace and all those things. But there are times in marriage where it's like, I don't feel very patient right now, and I do not have my peace because everything's a mess. The house is a mess. This is a mess. You're not helping me. Da, 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 da. Oh my goodness, there's so much we can go on that. But in general, it's coming back to that place of learning how to communicate and keep your love on in it.
Yeah. And like we mentioned, choosing to be a servant lover and not a selfish lover.
Yep. So important. And all of that comes down to the different ways that you communicate with one another, kind of like what you said, you know, like you're the storyteller and you draw things out and every detail has to be said. And I'm just like, come on, let's go. Let's wrap this up. Let's get to the point.
Yeah.
And it's not always, it doesn't always feel easy. And I think some of that comes from just our different personalities as well. I would say, you know, you definitely, like you hit on it earlier, you live in your mind palace often, but you are an external processor. You're such an extrovert. I mean, you don't know a stranger.
Yeah.
You do not know a stranger, and people come to you over and over and over again for counsel and for advice because you love so well and you carry just that deep pastoral heart. And then I am like, okay, give me the details. Let's get to the point. Let's figure out how we can create health, growth. Let's do this. And people come to me for that coaching, for when they want to grow in that realm of business. Although you carry it too. You carry that a lot. And we just handle things differently because of our different personalities. And I'm interesting enough, more introvert.
Yeah.
Way more introvert than you. I mean, I can go be by myself all day long and be happy in that space.
And I give me people and I'm happy.
Yeah. And when it's funny because when we have parties or gatherings at our house with lots of people, which we host a lot, there are times, I mean, I did it even the other night. Like I walk into our bedroom and I just lay on the couch. I mean, or lay on our bed, you know, and I'm just like, oh, just give me a minute. I just need a minute. And we had, you know, we didn't even have a ton of people at the house, but I just needed to breathe. I walked in our room, shut the door, and I'm just like, okay, give me a minute. And that's how I am. Like, I need space, and that's how I recharge. And in marriage or in dating, if you're constantly around each other, sometimes even that can bring friction because you're not watching out for the other person's well-being or your own. Because sometimes even in marriage, people are like, oh, I gotta sacrifice, I gotta do. And I've been guilty of this. We don't look out after ourselves.
Yeah, because I mean, the Bible says when people went to Jesus, they said, "What's the greatest commandment?" First was love the Lord with all your heart, and then it's love your neighbor as yourself. Mm-hmm. If you don't love yourself well, if you don't learn to love yourself well, then you can't love others well.
Yeah.
And that's just a fundamental. You have to take time for yourself. But again, it's from that place of like being a servant lover, not a selfish lover. It's not like, I need my own time, whether you like it or not.
Right.
Because that's what I need to be a healthy person. It's like, especially in relationship, whether you're dating, it's like, it's a partnership.
It's a partnership.
I remember when before we got married, you're like, hey, just so you know, I'm going to be going away on weekends. I need time alone with the Lord. Just be prepared for that. And, but then being together, it's not something that you have needed in the same way
I didn't
that
prioritize
you thought you
it.
would
right.
before we came into the relationship.
However, looking back, I probably should have taken weekends. I should have put things like that at the forefront and taken care of myself, because one of the things that I feel like I did in marriage at different points is lose myself.
Yeah.
Because you give yourself so much to just being in the marriage, to being a mom when you have children, to all the other things. And men do it too. You lose yourself. You're working, constantly. You're dealing with kids when you come home, and you're not taking time for yourself. And we're both guilty of that. Absolutely. And it's easy. You don't recognize it until you start to reach those levels of like, why do I feel angry? Why do I feel maybe depressed? Why do I feel pain in my heart? And you have to stop and think, oh my goodness, it's because, whoa, I've not taken care of myself.
Yeah. I think from that story in ourselves regarding just communication, and it's been 18 years.
Almost
We've
18,
been together.
July.
If you include dating, then it's probably 19 years.
19, 20, something
19,
like that.
20 years. And we're still learning. We're still figuring things out. We're still figuring out how we communicate, how to serve the other better.
We're not perfect at it.
Not perfect.
And the thing is throughout life and as you grow older, you change.
Yeah.
You change as a person. You change as a person. You mature. You grow. I know you're way different than you were when we first started dating. I'm different than we were when we first started dating. Or maybe I'm the same. I'm just perfect,
Yeah, I used to have long hair.
Long locks.
Everywhere. Sadly not.
No. Well, I mean, truth is none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
And the Bible says he'll take us from glory to glory. And I believe one of those things is learning, and growth in marriage, in relationship, in dating. So people that are just getting into, your dating relationships and you want to grow in healthy communication, lean into these places, lean into learning how to actively listen to your partner.
Yeah, and have the conversations like, hey, when we talk, what makes you feel the most heard?
Yeah.
Have those conversations. So learn the other person, learn their language, learn the way they communicate, and share how you communicate.
Yeah.
That can be a real stepping stone to growing in your relationship together, is learning how you communicate. But sometimes if you communicate how you learn or how you receive even just communication, that can accelerate things because you understand quicker how the other person works.
Right. Yeah, it can accelerate, I believe, the realm of openness that you walk in, your heart connection, because you're actually stopping and learning. I think you said it, the language of the heart.
Yeah.
Of the other person's heart. And there is a language.
Yeah.
I love that phrase. There is a language of the heart. I mean, I don't receive love the way you receive love.
Right.
I don't give love, give love the way you give love. We're different.
Yeah.
And that is something that we have to keep at the forefront and continuously grow in as we even grow older and we change in life.
I think one of the most important things to remember in all of that as well, you're going to be different. You're not going to find a clone of you.
And you don't want
And
a
you
clone.
don't want that anyway.
No,
Goodness.
because I mean, I can remember dating this one guy in college, and I would say we were close to being a clones. I mean, we constantly butted heads.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody exactly like you, chances are there's going to be competition in the relationship. You're going to be fighting for, one up on each other. And you don't need a clone of yourself. I sure don't want a clone of myself. I'm glad I didn't get one.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, just it's healthy to be different.
Yeah, different is
And
good.
and then it's like it's a journey, it's an adventure of learning, okay, this other human being is very different from me. Let me explore and understand how they work, how they communicate.
Yeah, and allow it to sharpen you. Proverbs 27:17, it says, iron sharpens iron. And when you are in a dating relationship or a marriage and growing in that, it's going to be like iron sharpening iron. And it is a beautiful process. And in that place of iron sharpening iron, it's good to ask healthy questions. Maybe you're in the middle of conflict in your relationship and you're like, wait a minute, and you kind of hit on this earlier too, like, I don't understand. I don't understand. Help me know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, it's like having kids. If kids ask a ton of questions, it's because they're
Which
curious.
they do.
They do.
We have 4 of them.
And it's a healthy thing, asking questions.
Yeah.
Especially if your heart is a heart of love in asking the questions. You're not asking the questions to condemn or to judge.
Right.
It's like, help me understand.
But it's the way you say it too.
Yes.
It's not like, well, help me understand.
Yeah.
It's more
It's
like, hey,
hold on a minute. What you just said, can you just explain that to me? Help me understand so I can figure out how to respond in the right way. Like, I need your help in understanding what you're feeling right now, what you're trying to explain to me.
right. And, sometimes in the moment, like you could be angry, you could be hurt and all these things. And emotions are not bad. I like to also go there and hit on that for a minute. Emotions are not a bad thing. God created emotions. There are times throughout the Bible, he was mad, he was happy, he was sad. He created emotions. However, sometimes we get so into our feelings, and feelings are not wrong in emotion. However, and they are valid. They are valid. However, sometimes our feelings really can lie to us. It's not the truth. You may be thinking one thing and because you heard something your spouse said, your partner said, and you heard it in a certain way because of your lens, because of the way you see it, because of the pain maybe in your heart from a past relationship or a past failed marriage or, your upbringing or different things like that. And it's so important to remember that, like, our feelings do sometimes lie to us.
Yeah.
And sometimes in that moment, like, where your feelings could be really big and just crazy, and maybe you're in a heated thing or something, oftentimes, and I've been guilty of this, well, you never you never, you. And it's because the feelings are strong.
Right.
However, it's a lie, because it's not like you never, it just sometimes you don't.
Right. And I remember from, I think it was the marriage counseling we had, which I still remember.
In the beginning, before we
got
married, yeah.
They had said to us, never use the word never and always when you're in argument. Because, they're not true. Yeah. But you're feeling that passion and emotion. You never listen to me.
Yes.
You always do this. And it's like choosing your words. It's like, I feel like you never help. Or I feel like you don't listen.
Right. Because those feelings, they are valid.
Right.
They're just not always truth. And so when you say, I feel like, it gives the other person the ability to address that and say, oh man, actually, that's not what I meant.
Right. Rather than saying, well, your feelings lie to you, too bad.
Yeah. Too bad, so sad, get on with it,
Yeah.
and move on with life.
Yeah, it's giving person an opportunity. Okay, now I know what your feelings are. Rather than it coming as an accusation, you never listen to me. It's like, I feel like you don't listen to me very often. And it's like, oh, okay, that's what they're actually feeling in this moment. Let me respond to that.
Right.
And it actually, choosing your language in communication, especially when it comes to conflict, choosing the right language is really helpful
Yeah.
in serving the other person well, even with your language.
Yeah. In that place of just really loving.
Yeah.
Loving well, and in that place serving them to the highest ability, and I mean, every day we go through things. Life has mountaintops and life has valleys, and some days you have good days, other days you have bad days, and that place of serving sometimes feels easier than other days, because some days you just feel like going and grumbling.
Yeah.
You just rah, 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 rah. But it's so important, when you recognize that about the other person, say, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, have check-ins. Like, I love, one of the things I absolutely love, and I know you love this too, oftentimes, we don't always get it every day, but we try to make a habit of it, is sitting together. And, like in our household, because I'm married somebody who's from a British background, we have tea every day. Every day around
Many
4
times.
p.m. you come to our house, you're having tea. And we love that. And we will often, if it's a nice day, go outside and sit down, or sit on our couch and have our cup of tea and have like a check-in. Hey, how are you doing? And I know even yesterday, for instance, you asked me that multiple times, because life gets heavy sometimes. We go through things, or like me, I have a lot of projects going on and stuff, and so it's like, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, checking in with each other. But like you mentioned, you have to make the time and be intentional with
the question,
with those questions, checking in with each other.
Yeah, not just passing by. Hey,
Because
how are you doing? See you later.
Yeah, or when you're dating, it's like you do so much together.
Right.
And of course you get times to talk in that, but being intentional with like, hey, now we have a moment where we're not doing.
Yeah.
We've been doing all day. Can we sit and have a connection of just being, and then actually connecting, like asking each other, what's going on? How was your day? Like, tell me about it. How's your heart doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's fundamental in healthy relationships to check in with each other.
Yeah. Yeah, so important. It's very fundamental, because oftentimes you can go throughout your day and you're just doing, like you said, between work, and maybe you're involved in a lot of different sports activities or church activities, or, whatever,
Kids.
Or if you're married, you have kids and they've got tons of sports activities.
Yeah.
And, all the different things. Like, it's so easy to be like ships passing in the night without ever actually checking in. And so you have to be really intentional. We've had to do that, be intentional and lean in. And some months we really hit the mark, and other months we totally miss it. I mean, this is after 17 years of marriage. Like, nobody has it perfect. We're not sitting here saying we are perfect. Not at all. We're not perfect. We're not perfect. However, we've learned a lot.
We have.
We've learned a lot in this space.
And we're growing. We're still learning.
Yeah.
And still aware that we have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
But we're excited for growing and learning.
For continual growth.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And in that space, I love how, even from the growth that we've gone after and that we've seen in our own life, we have seen it unlock things in other people.
Yeah.
And even other couples that come to us for counsel and dating advice, and just all of that. And I love that. I love that, because God can take your struggles. He can take what you've gone through. He can take the pain, the hurts, and use it to unlock things in other people, because he takes the wisdom. As you lean into him with it, you grow in wisdom with the things you've walked through, and it's unlocking. It's a key to people's hearts, I believe.
Yes, it is.
And it's so important to hold people's hearts well, especially your partner, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. It's so important to hold their hearts well. And that's why communication is so key. Healthy communication is so key, because when you choose to just withdraw and when you choose to just stay silent, the silence, I would say, is really saying nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, you have verbal communication, which we've talked about,
Yeah.
and you have non-verbal
Yeah.
communication. So the withdrawing or the silent treatment, or
That's worse sometimes. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been guilty of all of that.
yeah, and then even when it comes to love languages, how you express love to people. For me, I love touch, even if it's just a hug or a hand on my shoulder, whatever. And sometimes I can tell when Mary's mad at me because it's suddenly completely hands off. I'm like, I know. And yes,
Or sometimes that comes also out of just a place of being super busy, and maybe in the moment, like say I'm cooking at the stove or something, then you come up behind me and put your head on me, or I'm in the middle of doing something and I'm busy writing my computer or whatever, and you come up behind me. That drives me nuts.
yeah, you've never liked people standing over your shoulder.
No, and I are like, if I'm in the middle of, like, I have hot food on the stove and it's gonna be burnt if you put your head. I'm like, I'm concentrating. No, don't put your hands around my
I mean,
waist.
it's the same with the kids.
But then in that too, sometimes it's like it's communicating. It's
Yeah.
communicating that, hey, hon, I'm actually, like, right now I have all this stuff going on, and I want to hug you, but just wait a second. And then when you get a moment, turn around and give the hug. Like, but it's like, even in relationships, sometimes don't force those things on people.
Right. And I think a good example of that is with our kids. They're growing in awareness
Yes.
of like what's going on around them. You have the oven open, you're cooking something hot on the stove, you're juggling something here and there, and they come
They
in.
reach over you and they
and
come
you're
up
like,
behind
hold
you.
on.
Yeah.
And even in those moments, say with the kids, it's like, okay, we still need to communicate well in love in those moments.
Yeah.
We would be justified and be like, stop.
Yes.
Just
Absolutely.
hold back. Just wait.
Yes, absolutely. And so, yeah, it's so important. Just communication, healthy communication. Learning to communicate well is so important. And when all that type of conflict and a lack of communication, when all that arises, it's not the enemy, it's an invitation. I would say it's an invitation in leaning in and learning. It's a teaching moment. So take hold of the teaching moment. Learning how to actually grab hold of it and say, okay, wait a minute. I need to learn from this because I need help in this. I need to grow in this.
Right. And that goes back to having humility of like, I'm not perfect, but I want to grow. And so then leaning on the people that are close to you and being like, hey, I want to grow. So if you see something in me, call it out, because I don't want to be walking around with warts on my head. Metaphorically, it's
Yes,
like
right.
you want
Yeah.
people, it's when you have something stuck in your teeth or a booger in your nose.
And no one tells you. That is the worst.
I'll always tell someone, I'm like,
Yeah.
I love you enough to tell you got a booger hanging out of your nose
or
right
your
now.
fly is down on
Yeah.
your pants. I mean,
It's that. It's like you want people to tell you. You don't
Yeah.
want to walk around with that. And it's the same thing. It's like you want people to communicate that with you.
yeah, 100%. And in that space of communicating, it doesn't mean you have to always agree on everything. It's okay to agree to disagree.
Yes.
As long as you do it in that space of, like, being that servant lover.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause it's important. It's okay to agree to disagree.
It's how you handle it. It's how you step into it.
Yeah, it can be very healthy. I think a lot of mindsets are like, oh, if we disagree, therefore we can't continue. I mean, if I look in a lot of even church culture, it's like, oh, we can't agree, we can't work together. But if you look at Jesus and his disciples, he didn't agree with Judas's heart.
No.
He knew when he brought Judas on as a disciple, he knew he was going to betray him.
Right.
But still, he kept him and loved him just the same as the other 11 for 3 years.
And
he
chose to still bend down and wash his feet.
Still washed his feet. Didn't treat him any different. That's an extreme example, but it's okay to agree to disagree, because the goal is, how can you move forward together in a relationship? How can you communicate well together to move forward, not to move apart?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of that is leaning in when you do have conflict, checking yourself, saying, okay, like you said, what percentage is mine? What percentage is theirs? And also leaning into that space of forgiveness and grace. Let's talk about that. Forgiveness and grace is so important in relationship.
Yeah, you have to be quick to forgive, and quick to admit when you're wrong. Like it's a balance on both. I think for us, definitely in our marriage, obviously we've had conflicts that have come up, and I can't stand it when we have anything between us. I can't barely live with myself. So I won't let us go to bed that night. That's very rare, maybe twice in 18 years that it's gone into the next day,
right,
where we haven't actually resolved a situation that had come between us.
Well, we've talked about, maybe we haven't fully resolved it, but we always end up talking about it.
Yeah.
That night.
Yeah, addressing it. Hey, this is what happened. This is how I felt. You may still have, okay, well, we'll talk about it more tomorrow, but at least to have that initial conversation. I think it's also recognition. It's important with that to communicate that you recognize that there's a tension or that something has gone between us. It's not that you're just ignoring it or running away from it. You're communicating that, hey, this happened. We need to resolve it. And I don't want this to go on a long time, because the longer you have with an unresolved conflict, the easier it is for seeds of bitterness to grow, or your mind to go wild, or your mind to decide how justified you were in what you did, and sort of entrench yourself in a justification. Whereas if you're quick to ask for forgiveness and quick to offer forgiveness, then that's the healthiest way that you can move forward.
Yeah, that's good. Every conflict that you go through, like we said earlier, it can bring growth. Yeah. It can bring so much growth if you allow it. And I know, I've done some dumb things. Dumb things in our marriage where I've gotten angry. And, that's the crazy thing about when you're dating, or you get into relationships, whether you're dating, marriage, whatever, engaged. It's crazy how your spouse can bring things out in you.
Bring out the best things.
It can bring some crazy things out. And I can remember, just story time. We're doing a story time. I can remember it was early on in our marriage. And I remember going over to your parents' house, and I don't remember what we were arguing about. That I don't remember at all. What I do remember is, I think you had showed up there with the little red moped that we had, and I can remember getting the keys to that. We were arguing. I don't remember what we argued about, but getting the keys to that and cranking that thing on and zipping out down the drive, the dirt drive. That's when we were in Africa, zipping down that dirt drive, going out that gate. And I've got all these things going on in my head. And I was so mad. I was so mad. And I could think of other words to say, but I won't say those. But I was so mad. And I literally I'm like, "Grr," and I boom, crashed on the road.
And you skinned up your
skinned
whole
up
leg,
my knees. I skinned up my elbows. I had blood coming. And I had to humble myself. And I had to call you on my phone.
To come and rescue her.
To come and rescue me. And all that happened because of my pride.
Which, it's a good reminder. It's okay to get angry.
Yeah.
It happens,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's also really important to just humble yourself.
Yeah. And in that moment, I had growth happen. You know, there was that incident. There was another incident one time I can remember getting mad, and I jumped in our car and I pretty much did the same thing. However, I did not crash our car, but
No.
I was gone for, I don't know, probably an hour or
Yeah.
more, or 2 hours, I don't know. And you were so mad at me when I got back, and you were like, "Don't ever leave like that again." And I didn't call you or anything because I was so mad. And I can remember just driving through the banana fields, being so mad and thinking, I'm not going to go home. I'm going to try to figure out a place to stay tonight. I can remember all those things going through my head. It was just me moping and being like so ticked off at you. But through these incidences like this, like it forced us into this place of like, okay, I can either withdraw or I can come into brave communication with you, and through it, we chose the growth. We chose growth because we didn't want to allow these kinds of things to come into our marriage. That's one thing that I love about us. I know you love this too. In our marriage, let's talk marriage now for really quickly. We've always said we're never putting divorce on the table.
Yes, we decided before we were married, when we were dating, that it wasn't an option.
Right. And divorce has always been in my family line.
Yeah.
And it's not really been in your family line.
No.
But we chose that together, that divorce is not an option. And granted, there are people out there listening that have probably been through divorce. Hey, if you have no shade at all, like it happens. We get that. And sometimes there's really bad situations that go on. Adultery, all the different things like can happen. And if that's you, we're not trying to shame you at all. But for us, when we were dating, and I want to speak to the young people out there that are dating, or maybe even your middle-aged dating, like we wanted to make it work. And we were like, no, we are not going to put divorce on the table.
Yeah.
We had strong conviction.
We did. And it really goes back to that. Are you going to be a selfish lover or a servant lover? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're committed to making it work, then even if you're mad, even if you're hurt, you're at least going to check your heart and see, okay, what part of this can I own? And then bring that back to the table.
Right.
And I think one thing we did well in those moments when we got mad at each other, and I remember driving off one time as well. I was just so undone. I didn't know what to do. I drove off, and sometimes you need that space. But when we come back together, we then humble ourselves and like, okay, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about what happened. And
it's okay to take that space if you take it in a way that isn't hurting the other person. Like we hurt each other in those moments, and we could have done that different. Like we could have just taken a step back and said, hey, I really need space right now. Like I do not have capacity to talk about this. I love you. I may not feel it right now, but I do love you. And I choose love in this moment, but I need space and I just need time. And that way it diffuses the moment. Yeah. And it helps keep your love on. It helps you stay in that mode, like you said, being that servant lover. And so taking time out, that's not a bad thing. Right. It's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah. So long as it's communicated as well, not like, as it were, extended silent treatment where you just disappear.
Yeah. You take off because you're totally pissed at each other.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like that's the reality, is like step into that space of humbling yourself and saying, hey, I'm so mad and I can't talk right now. I need time. Yeah.
And even in that, even if it's a situation where you've thought about it and you don't think any of it was your fault, but there's always, if you walk in humility, it's like, well, did you get angry? Did you speak harshly? Were you impatient in the way you responded? Like that's things you can own. It's not like you're owning, it's not like there has to be something in this bad situation that you did do something wrong. But if you walk in humility, there's always something that you can own.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want to ask you guys out there, what's one way that you can improve how you listen and how you take time out to really just protect your partner's heart and lean into that. I think that's a great question for people to ask themselves this week. Like in your relationship, are you listening? Are
Yeah.
you taking time?
And asking, how can I listen to them better? How can I learn how they feel heard?
Yeah. Yeah. How can I improve our relationship by taking these tools and leaning in?
Yeah.
So just recapping everything that we've been talking about, because we're getting ready to come down and land this plane. But just recapping, communication is key. I would say brave communication.
Yes.
Keeping your love on, I love that. There's a guy, Danny Silk, that has a book called Keep Your Love On. If you haven't read it, it's a great book to get, especially for relationships. But I like to use that phrase, keeping your love on. It's so important. And I think that those are huge, huge keys to grow your skills of brave communication, leaning in and learning how to keep your hearts knitted together.
Yeah. And remember, communication is a skill that you actually have to grow in.
Yeah.
It's not a gift that you suddenly receive. And just because you talk a lot doesn't mean you're a good communicator.
I think you need to say that again.
Just because you talk a lot doesn't mean you're a good communicator.
Yeah, some of you guys out there need to hear that. Just because you talk a lot doesn't mean that you are a good communicator. Talking is good, but there's skills that you've got to learn in how to communicate well.
Yeah, and I think in that, just because you talk a lot, you're not a good communicator. Actually, if you listen a lot and you hear someone's heart
That's so good.
That's
so
what
good.
makes you a good communicator.
Yes, yes, and yes. That's so good. All right, guys, we want to pray for you. We're going to end this, and I love that we got to do this podcast together. It's so amazing, and I'm excited for what more is going to come from this. There's so much more. There's so much depth, but we want to pray. We want to pray over you guys, you couples that are struggling. If you're dating, if you're in marriage, if you've been in marriage for a while, or if you're just getting into marriage, or maybe you're engaged, we want to pray over you. Just a blessing and wisdom and the spirit of revelation to come. So Father, I thank you for every couple that is leaning in, that's listening to this podcast. And I thank you, God, for breathing on it. And I thank you, God, for the importance of this topic, how communication is so important, and learning how to handle conflict. And I pray for every marriage, whether it's new, whether it's old. I pray for every couple that's dating right now, or people that maybe are even single that want to date. God, I pray that you would give them and release over them the spirit of wisdom and revelation as they lean into brave communication and how to deal with conflict in relationship. And Father, I just pray over their hearts that they really learn to become grounded in sonship in you, how they really learn to grow in their identities as sons and daughters, and to trust you in every relationship that they get into.
And Jesus, we just ask that you would show them what it means to be a servant lover.
Yeah.
Even if it's dating, engaged, married, you are the greatest servant, and you serve people well. You came to serve. So teach each one of us, Lord, how to be a servant lover and not a selfish lover. In Jesus' name.
Yeah, and we bless every relationship out there. We bless it, and we ask, God, that you would just bring abundance and overflow to it in Jesus' name. So, hey, if you are a couple out there, maybe you're struggling in your relationship, we want to invite you. If you're listening, I want to invite you. We want to invite you to DM us, text us, email us your questions, things that you've dealt with in arguments, or even like,
what do you do in this situation? Or what are the most common things that trigger you?
Yeah. or if you have questions even about how to build for your future when it comes to relationship, we want to invite you into this space, and we want you to text us, email us, write into us your questions, and we will tackle them on future episodes of Roar Out Loud. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends and family. Always remember, your voice matters. Your dreams are worth pursuing. And you, my friend, have the power to roar out loud.